I actually want to start with Luka. Is this or was this Luka's only shot at getting a ring or at least making it to the finals?
I want to say it's his only shot. It's because he's still 26. He's super young, so he's not even
25,
like
I think,
25, yeah. 25, 26. So I think he still has a lot of like chances of getting back to the league. Getting back to the chip. But it's just like this was such a rough run for him to get to the finals. I think they needed to add an extra piece or a third scorer or somebody a little bit more consistent to get them going there because we already talked about the whole fact of the dynamic duo when it comes to him and Kyrie, which is crazy, but they need one extra piece. They got the good role players and Gafford, Lively, but they have no third scorer. So it's just like one day it'll be P.J. Washington. Then it was Tim Hardaway. He was the third scorer. Then it's like they didn't have any consistent, like real third scorer on there. So I think he got another chance. They just got to add another piece.
All right, my opinion on that is that no. Or yes, actually, I think that might have been his last time because it took Boston, how long when they first made that Eastern Conference Finals, so 2007, 2018. It took them 6 years to finally make a finals, and I think their team was much better constructed than the Mavs are. And you're probably going to lose out on Kyrie in the next 2 years. Maybe I don't see him paying past another 2-3 years.
I'm saying because he's so young. It's like he's so young and such a high talent. They have to do something to get him more people, or he just might pull a KD and go to another team and get that ring some way, or get back to the finals either way. But I mean, everybody knew the outcome was going to happen. Everybody was wishful thinking that they were going to win or hoping that they would win. But he's so young. If he just unless he decides to just like retire early or just stop caring at all, he's definitely going to go back to the finals.
Yeah, but Europeans are loyal players. Like, when is the last time we've seen a superstar Euro player actually transition to another team to chase a ring?
Porzingis.
He, first of all, was traded. Secondly, doesn't count. He did get a ring, didn't he? He doesn't count, though. He don't count. He was never a superstar, except for in New York for a short stint.
Yeah. He was to have Porzingis. If you look at it like in the future from now, you look at Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum on the same team, you would think that they were like the big three just because of what Porzingis was, like the unicorn or all that good stuff when he was in New York. But
right, and he missed, 2 games? 2
games, yeah. In one game,
and he still 4-1'd him.
Yeah, but the game that he missed, and he was half broken, but the game that he missed, they lost by 38.
Nah, that's a testament to Boston just giving up.
I'm going with Porzingis. He's still good.
All right, so you named one. But outside of that, my point was that a lot of times they're...
Nash don't count, right?
Steve Nash, he does count. Well, no, he's Canadian. I ain't saying that. I said Europeans.
Oh, okay.
Canadians. Yes, I mean, you guys tell us what you think. Is this one of the last times we'll see the Mavs competing for an NBA Finals? And if so, why do you think that is? And who do you think they should try to go after this offseason?
So I've been a fan of Big Three. I've been following them for a couple of years now. I just appreciate it. I like the flow of everything. I've been hearing murmurs of people like questioning it. Like, do you think it's like a legitimate league, or is it just a bunch of washed NBA players that can't play in a league that still want to play ball?
I'm glad you brought up probably that sentiment of a bunch of washed players. People can't play, because I don't think that's specifically the case. I think it's a combination of players that have just reached the end of their actual NBA playing career. Like, example, Kobe Bryant scored 60 his last game, right? Retired. But granted, on the grand scheme of things, if there was a more condensed league like the Big Three and more easygoing that didn't demand so much on your body, there's a lot of talent left that Kobe could have played with. So I think for those players that still want to do something, still want to be a part of the game, and can do so, like we're seeing in the Big Three now, I think it's the perfect outlet for them. So to address your question on if it's legit, yeah, I think it's legit. I also think that, too, for players that just had careers that it just didn't work out in the NBA, a lot of times they go overseas, but some players don't want to do that. So, again, for them to transition into that, still have fun, still be around the game, still be in the U.S., still make a little money, yeah, it's good for them, too. So, yeah, hell yeah, I think it's legit.
I mean, I want to make sure it's known. I appreciate the Big Three, and I love the Big Three, actually. Mm-hmm. I just don't think, well, at least not right now, not with the traction that it has, even though it's growing every year, week to week, year to year. I don't think we'll ever see anytime soon, like a Melo or Kobe or KD? Like, will the superstars end up being there after their career is done? Like, Kobe stopped playing not because he couldn't run up the court anymore. He just said that, like, he wasn't the star player. He was no longer that person, so he didn't want to be the person coming off the bench. But, God, if Kobe was still alive, he wouldn't even look. He would attend the big three, but he wouldn't go to the big three because you're getting people who are there. There are still big names. We were just looking at it. Richard Jefferson, Mike Beasley, Mario Chalmers, Barbosa. Like, there's people who are hoopers that are still playing. Jason Richardson, I meant to say, that are still playing, but they weren't that guy in the league. They were great role players.
Are you saying then that the big three will forever be capped at a certain level because they're never going to be able to get that superstar that would drive them? It's not a bad viewpoint.
I mean, essentially, like, what superstar do you think would do it? Do you think KD at the end of his career is going to go to the big three?
And that's the thing. When it comes to superstars, a lot of times they've made so much money, they've done so much in the NBA that when they retire, it's other ventures in their life that they're looking to take on, not play basketball. So you're saying the big three will always be an all-star league, but never a superstars league? It
would definitely, I don't want to say always, because I do want the potential to go as far as, like, Ice Cube is a genius for doing what he did, but I think that is, if I asked him, I'm pretty sure that's the issue that he's having right now, because he's just starting to get the people. Like, the first couple of years, it was not anybody great, but they were like older players, and then now he's starting to open it to other people where, like, the qualifications are just like, if you're really talented, you can play. What did they get? Sham God was in there. He played last year, showed out, and I think he was one of the first people to ever play that wasn't in the league, in the NBA. But I just feel like there is a cap. Just, I don't know if it's pride or just, like you said, they've already done everything they needed to do, but just imagine LeBron playing 3-on-3 at the age. I'm saying, like, you see LeBron, Melo, and KD, they decide to make a team. It's going to tarnish the whole league.
If they made a team, yeah, I would tune in probably to every game, but ain't nobody beating that team either. So it's like, but yeah, I like that. I mean, in all respect to the big three, I love what they're doing. We both love what they're doing. And I didn't think about that until you just said it. That might be a good point. Will the big three always just be an all-star league? I don't know. I wish growth on them. I hope some superstar takes a chance on them.
Yeah, I feel like, hopefully this doesn't mess anything up, but I feel like the type of superstars that would do it are like Chris Paul. Chris Paul, I feel like, would fit in a league. Maybe Dwight Howard now. Like, those type of people who were great, just monumental for the NBA. But I feel like when it comes to their character, they don't have to wear, like, pride. I don't want to say character. Character's crazy. Pride. Like, they still, like, appreciate what's going on. They still love the game. They want to go further, and they want to go from there. Like, or even Rondo, something like that. But I don't know. Yeah. I wish nothing but the best for it. I just don't feel as if it would ever be a superstar league.
I mean, and you see what Dwight's doing, owning a team over there overseas and playing with the team and drawing other players over there. That's a good question. So is it purely at that point you think about money? Like, you're going all the way overseas to do that when the big three is here? Do you think it's about money, or what do you think that decision is for players?
I think at the end of the day it would be money. So, like, if they can, if the big three can offer contracts, I mean, because money talks. I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care who you are. Like, money talks. If you're giving me a contract to come here and play and do what I loved for so many years, why would you go overseas unless you want to travel?
It could be travel, could be money, but now I'm thinking about it, it could be the fan base. The overseas fan base embraces NBA players, American players more than a lot of other places. So what if the big three had a fan base that was, there's no way to say it's similar because it's incomparable, but at least more extraordinary and more embraced? Do you think it would be easier from the transition to that?
For sure. Like, I think it would be, it's the fact that, like, you still get that atmosphere when it comes to playing. And like you said, it's not so taxing on your body. Yeah. So you can experiment things that you wanted to do in the league, but you couldn't really do it then. Like, they have, like, a 4-point shot. They have, just like other different rules that aren't implemented in the league yet that you can now kind of showcase more talents. Like they said, who said it? Jamal Crawford. He was like, if he ever made it to the All-Star game, he had so many moves in his bag that he wanted to use, but he just never got voted to the All-Star game. Not that he wasn't able to, like, capable, but he just never got voted to the All-Star game. So it's just like little things like that. So if he decided to go to the big three, we could see, like, not the full potential because obviously he's older, but, like, you know, just bring more entertainment to the league.
Do you think, and obviously it's way too early, you know how these things work with organizations, leagues, and transitions. It's Big Three is still considered a baby business-wise. But do you think that later down the road it would help if the NBA was to implement some type of transitioning assistance? Because they already do it with finances, right? They always help, or from what I know, they help players make sure that they don't go broke after they end their career. But for those players that are transitioning out of the NBA, do you think it would help if there was a program to help push them to, hey, if you want to play after your career's up here, we'll help you transition into places like the Big Three?
For sure. I mean, I feel like, again, like, trying not to take nothing from Q, but I think that he probably has that in mind, and that's probably like a goal for him to get to that point. Yep. Just so there are no, you know, has-beens and people that just kind of just fall off the face of the earth after they're done playing basketball. But I think that's definitely something that could help transition and just bring that credibility to the league. Again,
excellent job that you guys are doing over there. But pivoting from that, I want to talk about Jrue Holiday. I personally have been thinking about this a lot, especially now that they got a ring. But I think Jrue Holiday, once he retires, is going to be in some of the probably weirdest and strangest conversations, because he's been on 7 to 8 all defensive teams. He's won, or at least had an immediate impact. Got to the Bucks championship, brought on in Boston championship. One of the best defenders that we've seen at the point guard position. Now, offensively, he's very inconsistent. He's not going to give you 20, 30 points, but he does make plays where he needs to or can. I think he's a all-star type of player. But do you feel that when it's all said and done, we'll look back at his career and say he's a top 75 NBA player?
I think it's a strong argument. I think it's a strong argument just because of, I guess, I hate saying it, but I guess the eye test. If you actually watch the games and see how much he affects the game with, you know, the tip passes, the extra hustle plays, the extra pass that makes everything, like, just that energy that he has on the floor. And plus he straps. Like, Kyrie is arguably one of the most talented players to ever play the game. And he strapped him the whole series. Like, it was hard for Kyrie to guard when he was the primary defender. And he plays both sides of the court, and, like, you're not going out there to expect him to score 30, but then he can just go out and go 5 for 5 from the 3-point line and knock and give you 30. And it's an easy 30 too, because he's just a great player. And it's just like, I feel like there's people who are on the top 75 for clout, or because of, they were pioneers for the sport. Not that they weren't good, but they were just pioneers for the sport. And then I think it's a strong argument that he could bring up. Like, everybody knows I love Chris Paul. Everybody knows I love Chris Paul, but I'm, like, depending on the people, like the surrounding cast around Jrue Holiday, I may pick up Holiday before Chris Paul, just because of how much he affects the game.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, especially because, that's the thing about Chris Paul. Like, you've loved his game. I've watched his game over the years, and he's made defensive teams, et cetera, but I've never actually considered him like a
defender.
Right, never. Mid-range, great. Facilitator, excellent, obviously. But if I had to pick a team that I want to win a championship with, yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking Jrue Holiday.
Yeah, it's definitely an unpopular opinion. But as you can see, I think defense is starting to become more of a thing now, where people are actually starting to, like, where the superstars are actually caring about defense, like Anthony Edwards and Paul George, Kawhi when he's playing. Like, so I think that's becoming more of a big part of the league now, so where defense is fun to watch. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you saw they criticized the hell out of Luka because he had 40 and terrible on defense, and then he came back out. Like, everybody in the league is capable of playing defense. It's just whether they want to do it. It's either skill or will. They just 90% of the time it's will. But
skill or will? Look at you! Like this nigga came with some heat today. No. Skill or will?
But
wow.
I'm just saying, it's just like, but now that defense is becoming such a thing, like, which I appreciate. My short stint of basketball, defense is what I focused on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just like, I was always taught defense keeps you on the court. And then if you have that talent where you can be the offensive player and then be the Anthony Edwards and make the chase down block and then go down and hit the three,
yeah,
why not? So Chris Paul, he's a hell of an offensive player. He's great at off-ball defense, but you size him up. If he's guarding Luka, if you go point, I'm gonna say if you go point guard to point guard, he ain't guarding Luka. He can't.
You remember what Pat Bev said? It said he's a cone out there.
He ain't no cone. Like, Pat Bev is a troll, but ain't no cone. Again, he in the league. He plays defense. He just physically too small for most of the people.
What do you say? I see Chris Paul licking my chops.
Nah, he's a troll for that. But
from that, I want to talk about Jaylen Brown. I brought this up to you, but I was looking at some stuff, and it's like essentially, is Jaylen Brown the equivalent of Scottie Pippen? Not like from a skill level, but like we only praise JB when we're bringing down Jason Tatum. You've seen that over the last, 3 weeks or so, throughout these last two rounds. But think about it, like up into the playoffs, it was has no left hand, most overpaid player in the league, clown the dunk contest, which admittedly that was right, deserving.
That's getting diluted.
Right. Right. But then now he wins the championships, finals MVP, and suddenly it's like, oh, he's always been the best player on the Celtics. Like, where was that energy? And you're only saying we get it. You're only saying that because you're slating Jason Tatum. Because Jason Tatum, while I think, numbers wise, he plays fucking phenomenally. We want him to be this superstar takeover, Kobe-esque, like top tier player, and he, granted, hasn't necessarily been that. Not that he's not elite, he just hasn't been that. So you're saying, okay, Jason Tatum, you ain't this because now JB is this. He's doing that. So that's the comparison I'm making. Like, same thing kind of happened with Scottie and Mike, and it's happening now with JB and JT. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that? Like,
I think people just don't know how to appreciate just two superstar players.
Especially when they try to coexist.
Yeah, when they try to coexist, like two superstars players coexisting on the same team. Like you said, like the beginning of the year, it was all criticism to Jaylen Brown. Like, he was trash. He's this. He's that. Like he's not that good. He should have got paid as much as he should. So it's just like to the point where now when they win, they have to make it a point to be like, we are friends. Like, I could have did this without Jason Tatum. Like, stuff like that. But it's literally 1A, 1B. Like, it's like they bring the same thing.
I would argue it's 1A, 1A.
1A, 1A. You can do that. They bring the same thing. It's just only reason why I give it Jaylen Brown a B because Tatum's a little bit more consistent. But it's like, but it's not because like Brown has stuff to work on. Like, but he's just more raw. I think he's just like, he's not as much of a marketable player because he's just like, he's a raw player. Like, he plays like just tough, and then JT plays a little bit more smooth, more fluid. Like, he's he's cool to watch. He's fun, step backs, but like, Jaylen Brown dunking on people, spin move, ugly layup going through the lane. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people like to watch it as much, but I just think people just don't know how to appreciate two superstars coexisting together on the same team.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great example. With JB, you're getting more of that rugged superstar, whereas JT is a more polished superstar. So I guess it's pretty much what you like. Either way, both are very effective. Yeah,
and I think it's very like, even though what Tatum had, like 30.
It was 30 something. It was 30 something double digit rebounds.
Yeah, he was killing. Like, and even though, but that's like, it's expected. So I was actually surprised that they gave Jaylen Brown the MVP. I think it was deserving, but I was surprised they gave it to him because it's like, again, he's not as marketable, I guess. But you can even see now they're even starting to put like, bad news sells way better than good news. Like, they're starting to slowly show like Jaylen Brown's like his resume like about how smart he is and all the stuff that he's done, like all the stuff he does off the court. So I just think people just like to be assholes and not want to just appreciate what they got going on. Because I mean, for real, like even though the East is not as weak as it used to be, but their route was so easy to get there. Not discrediting, or I'm gonna say not discrediting or taking anything away from them, but like I think they can run it back for real. Like if they keep the same team, they got the same stuff, like they definitely can run it back.
All right, I want to put a bug in your ear then when you talk about running it back, because obviously we know the NBA is all about matchups, right? We saw Timberwolves beat a Nuggets team, which I think Timberwolves and Nuggets would have given the Celtics a way better series. Like I think both of those probably would have went to 7.
Yeah.
But it's about matchups at that time, right? So if we're talking about that, hypothetical I want to put in your ear is going back to Jrue Holiday. Let's say, this is not going to happen, but let's say he leaves Boston, doesn't want to be in Boston, and gets picked up with the Timberwolves, with Mike Conley potentially phasing out. Do you think Boston's running it back?
I think they lost their defender. They either have to pick up another Marcus Smart or somebody else like that, because having that's why I'm saying that again. That's why I say I'll pick Jrue Holiday over a lot of point guards in the league, is because no matter where you put him, he's going to be effective. Yeah. Like as long as you put him with some solid people. I mean, if you make him the superstar of a team, like it's not going to be. He'll still be good, but they're not going to go nowhere. But if you put him with a team with like the Timberwolves, like that, now you have 2 dogs on defense.
Nah.
3 dogs.
I was in
4 dogs.
4.
Yeah.
They were already the best defensive team in the league.
Yeah, you got 4 dogs and you got Twin Towers, the new Twin Towers in the paint. So it's just like, shit, if you put Marcus Smart on that team, it would be different. So like, it's just like, but if you put Jrue Holiday anywhere, he's going to work. And they did, like you said, matchups. I think the Knicks would have gave him a better matchup if they didn't bump it with the Pacers, if they had Julius Randle. Because like it is about matchups, but I just see like the Celtics just have no missing pieces. They have the shooters. They have like Pritchard is effective player. Like he doesn't play all the time. Sam Hauser is tough. Like and then
top to bottom.
Yeah, seriously. Like I think they're not a worse player, but the person, what's his name? Xavier. Like he might be the only player that doesn't really like do. He's like a baby Bobby Portis without like he just does like the hustle, but like they have so many people. Derek White could arguably be the MVP. Like there's so many people on their team, and then you got Kristaps coming off the bench. Like
crazy.
It's just like I don't see how you can beat that.
Like the respect that Al Horford needs to get, like when he officially retires, I would say he's probably one of the most consistent and effective pieces the NBA has seen. Yes, 100%.
Because even on the Hawks, he was killing.
Yeah, and we talked about this with Eric McCollum when we talked about like throughout the mid-year, like who the legit best teams were. Obviously, it was Nuggets. He talked about the Pels. But the Celtics, we said, from top to bottom, they are the most complete, talented team in the league, and obviously it showed.
They got a solid 8 people. They got a solid 8 lineup. And then any given day for the rest of the people. But
8 that could be starters on any team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not Pritchard.
You don't think Pritchard could start on Pelicans? Pritchard or Jose Alvarado? Could he start on the Raptors?
You got Fred.
Fred and who?
I don't know anybody on the Raptors.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, Pritchard, yeah, there's probably some teams, but like Sam Hauser, everybody can use a Sam Hauser.
Right.
Everybody can use Derek White.
Right.
Pritchard, he definitely could start because he's definitely talented. He's effective. He's raw. He's like a TJ McCollum.
Yeah.
So,
do you think with everything going on this offseason, maybe some pickups, maybe some not, but with the current roster the Bucks have, do you think they can even compete next year?
It depends. It's all on Chris Middleton. He's their X factor in their team, bro. And that's a tough X factor to have with the injuries and whatever he got going on. Like it's definitely a tough X factor to have, but you have Giannis, so that's just like a cheat code in itself. Dame also a cheat code, but it's just like, again, I don't think you can, especially not nowadays, you can't win with 2 people. Well, it's hard to win with 2 people. You have to have like that third piece, and Middleton is that third piece. I do think the whole series would have been different if Giannis was playing.
Right.
Obviously, it would have been playing, but like injuries are part of the game. And Dame getting hurt at the end, like injuries are part of the game. But I think they can. They did sneak their chip in there. I ain't gonna lie, they did sneak that championship in there.
They did, and they only snuck that in there because of KD's toe.
Yeah, the big toe.
That still bothers me so much. Like the conversations that we have, where it's like KD's legacy, and then I look at that and I'm like, seriously, if he hits that shot and it's a three, they win a ring that year, even without Kyrie and Harden.
Yeah, there's many different things like the block, LeBron's block, KD's toe,
KD's toe,
like in Kyrie's shot. Like there's so many different things that have changed like just the history of basketball, which is why I personally like basketball so much, because it's like one thing can change so much. Because it wasn't even over that game. Like that, there was like a minute left, but Kyrie just sucked the life out of the crowd. So it's just like, but
and football is kind of like that, but it's so extensive to actually score that you don't really get those plays coming down to one, like a pick. Okay, that's dramatic. Seahawks losing that Super Bowl off a run, the interception, not running an interception, stuff like that. But those are so drastic and so uncommon. That basketball is like one play in a matter of seconds could lead to this, and that. Yeah,
a 15-point run can happen in a minute. Like so,
ain't that crazy?
But
so I asked the Bucks question because looking back at the Bucks, could we say that Jabari Parker was the biggest what if the Bucks have ever had?
I mean, just from I'm just trying to think about the people that was on the Bucks.
Let's look at it like this. At the time, that was a younger Middleton. Still a really good Giannis.
Yeah.
You got Jabari Parker. That would have been their core. Their three that we're talking about.
Yeah.
21, he averaged 20.6 boards. He looked good. He even shot 37% from 37% from three. And so he was right on par with what we would want from a young player to grow and develop. And then obviously injuries. So I think potentially the growth that he could have had, I think that Bucks team could have been very dominant, especially in the East, for a very long time. So that's why I bring it up, because I was thinking about, obviously, he's playing now overseas, and you saw the emotions that he went through just to be able to play. And it got me thinking, like, that Bucks team could have been pretty lethal then. So
I mean, I definitely would give it to as, I don't know, you said bust? You said the biggest bust?
No, biggest what if.
Oh, I'm about to say, because I don't want to call him a bust, because I saw something, I don't know who posted it, but it was like the biggest bust when it comes to like top draft picks. And then I was like, damn, Jabari Parker not a bust, because he did get injured, and he still played well even when he was injured. He just wasn't. He became a role player instead of a superstar. But yeah, for sure, because he plays like a more polished Julius Randle. It's kind of weird how these light skinned and dark skins be playing different. Right. But he plays like a more polished Julius Randle. And then and you see how effective he is. Randle is. So it's just like, any lefty. So you already got an advantage on that one. So it's just like, I think it would have been tough. But again, I just don't believe in Chris Middleton. I don't believe in him. I think he would have got traded. I think they would have traded Middleton as a trading piece, because he is very talented, and they would have got somebody to actually kind of like mirror them, or like a scorer, or like somebody who could stretch the floor a little bit better than they can. But yeah.
Continuing our what ifs here, 2018 Rockets, are they a contender for one of the best teams that never actually did anything or won anything?
Contender for sure. I think they're definitely a contender. I personally think that it's still Lob City Clippers. There's a lot of them. You got the Lob City Clippers. You got the KD Nets. KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Nets.
They ain't play enough games. They ain't play enough games together for that to go in there.
Pending the Suns right now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I mean, yeah, I just. But again, injuries. I still remember watching that game when Chris Paul came down the court, did that stupid ass spin move and like tore his groin or whatever. I was like, what the hell were you doing? And they were playing the Warriors, but I'm just like, I was so mad about that. But yeah, I still will go with the Lob City Clippers though.
I like the Clippers talent-wise, but I think just like the stuff that Houston was able to accomplish puts them at number one for me, or at least top three. Because you got to think about it, they won 65 games that year. Set the single season record in threes that year. They were throwing that bitch up. Lost a game to the Warriors by 9 points, where they went 7-44 from three. Like, and you shoot that bad from three and still only lose to that team by 9 points, right?
That is
you're
a
right
3-point shooting team,
right? So you're right there. And then they had all the pieces. MVP James, Chris Paul, which at that time, you see, I remember watching that, and Chris Paul would always every time he touched the ball, it was scaring me because obviously I was a Warriors fan because KD. And it's that bitch is going in. Or something's he's doing something that's positive for his team. So obviously super effective. Then you had your 3-and-D specialist, PJ Tucker, who deserves more respect, at least during that era, was there. Trevor Ariza, Eric Gordon, knocked down at that time, even with Clippers, knocked down. So, I mean, talent-wise, I think it was there. Even Capella was looking like...
Yeah. But that was 100% James Harden doing that for Clinton.
Crazy. So, yeah, they're my number one there.
I don't know. I stick with the Clippers because you got Chris Paul. You had Matt Barnes, Jamal Crawford, Eric Gordon, Griffin, Jordan. I mean, they made a whole series off of it. Obviously, it was egos. That knocked everything down there. But they didn't put up much accolades, but it was just the potential. I loved playing with them in 2K. That was the best team to play with.
Don't let him front though. Even though he plays with him, he don't win shit on that game.
The crazy thing is, we've been playing 2K for years. It's like everybody else. The 1 year that Darion beat me in was last year. It's the first time you ever had a winning record against me, but that's a whole other thing.
I think I'm probably 50-4.
I ain't gonna say 50-4. I'm definitely getting washed this year. I deactivated the game. I don't play it anymore. So it was a bad year. I think people would agree with me there that it's not a good year for 2K, but still, the Clippers are the biggest bust team.
And then lastly, about this one isn't even a what if. This is just what the hell happened kind of thing. Andrew Wiggins, number one pick. The hype around Andrew Wiggins was insane. Being compared to Tracy McGrady, being compared to, even had Kobe comparisons at that time because he was 6'8". Well, I guess he's still 6'8". He's 6'8", 2-something. Could finish at the rim. He even had a little bit of a jumper. He was crazy. So, what the fuck happened?
He wasn't ready for the spotlight because on the Timberwolves, everybody wanted him to be that person. And Zach LaVine was there. They had a crazy team over there too. I don't think he was ready for the spotlight. I don't think it's lack of talent at all because, like you said, he's 6'8", could shoot. He still shows spurts of it that he's that guy. But now that he's getting older, and he's becoming more of a role player. Because if he scores 30, if he scores 50, everybody's gonna be like, "Yeah, this is the Andrew Wiggins we wanted." But if he doesn't, it's it's just Andrew Wiggins. He's not that good anyways. Now everybody hoping on Kuminga.
Yeah, Kuminga's definitely next up.
Yeah.
I mean, now I think he's way past that conversation where if he drops 50, it's cool. 50 from Andrew Wiggins. No one's getting their hopes up.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking during that time, because remember the Cavs got him, and I was like, yeah, that's a good pick for the Cavs, and they trade him. I was like, damn, that's not why they trade him. I really thought that he was going to come in and be a walking 30-piece bucket.
Even when it came to his highlight reel, his hoop mixtape, tough, crazy. He was a dog, and then I think the spotlight caught up on him, or he just wasn't ready for the pace of what the league is. I mean, even the greatest players have said that went to college to go to the NBA. They say that it's just a completely different ball game. Literally nothing's the same. So the only person that I think that's kind of a complete segue on that one, but that I feel kind of made it look easy to come from a different league to another spot, to the NBA, is LaMelo Ball. I don't think he gets enough credit. He looks like he just has so much fun outside and be on the court and just dogs everybody when he's healthy. It looks easy to him.
I know. I don't understand. I'm not even gonna say I understand that, but that's a great point. He does not get enough credit for making it look that easy.
Because he definitely did not have the like the route to the NBA. As everybody knew he was going to make it to the NBA. Like if he didn't make it off of his talent, which clearly he has a talent, it was at least his name. No, you don't think?
I remember. I was like, this nigga, he ain't gonna make it.
No, that's what I'm saying, because he's not good enough. He had a terrible like fundamentals.
Yeah,
like terrible fundamentals. He had like he wasn't that tall. Like he was cool, but he was just like he was a cool person to watch. But then he got to the NBA, he grew like 9 inches, like shooting crazy, like passing. His pat is crazy. Like so, it's just like he's a healthy. I think he's a top 5 point guard when healthy.
Would you say the same thing about his brother? Yeah, I know you saw that video I posted.
Oh yeah, for sure. If he's healthy, I mean, the Ball brothers are tough if they're healthy. But
so when let's say they both have a full healthy season next year, especially now that the point guard position is starting to decline slightly.
Yeah, well, they start to just go to these giant point guards.
Yeah, right. Ball brothers, if fully healthy, when we look at the top 5 players at the end of the season, are there 2 names in there?
Yes, I think they can be. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they were. I wouldn't be surprised when it comes just like statistically. Not saying that they're going to go to the championship or anything like that, but I would not be surprised because like Melo is almost a walking triple double, almost. Like he's going to get his dimes. He enjoys having the passes. He rebounds because he's 6'8", and he can score. So it's just like he's effective every single time he's on the court, even with the team that he has, and they're not good.
We have Luka. We got he's the point guard. We got dominance. We got Luka, Steph, obviously, SGA, Ja, and Dame, and Trey. Yeah, I think he can take Trey.
He can take Trey
and
Dame and Ja for real.
And Ja.
Yeah.
I mean, those first 3 for me, unless Steph just has a massive decline next year. Luka, Steph, and SGA.
They're solidified, I feel like. And SGA is a new solidified. It's crazy because Dame, I don't know. It's an argument. If they did it, I would be like they definitely achieved a lot throughout the season. But if it happened, I wouldn't be super surprised. I mean, for sure, LaMelo, but Lonzo, just on the way he was, like we were talking about in the video, it's just like how he was acting before he got injured.
Yeah.
It definitely is something that can happen.
Nice. Pretty much wraps up this. Now we have some good interviews coming in probably next week, so we want you guys to stay tuned for that.
Just look out for the drops when it comes next week for these interviews. Should be some good ones there, so appreciate it.
Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. See you later.
I always forget about that part.